they feel like. And so when being in your, like, you have to be open though, you know what I mean? Like, you have to actually open yourself to it. So when you're open to it, you receive the help. You're just like, some of this, guys, that I always like, energy transfer is real. This is why people come to work with me all the time and crazy things happen before we even started working together, right? Energy transfer is a real thing. So, and it's the same for you, is like, some of the work is just being in the energy is the transformation. Like, everything isn't this linear, like, okay, well, now you need to do this and do that. Like, it's literally like the energetic upgrade.
Yeah.
Because when you upgrade your frequency, I mean, everything, money's easier, love's easier, miracles are easier, life is easier, you look better. Like, we're just vibing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I joke / very seriously say working with me is also a beauty routine, you guys. I'm going to be 42 years old on April 26th. And I mean, I have the face of a baby. And so there are these ways too, like these practical ways that it is so fun to work with me, because when you tap into those higher frequencies, it's not just that, like, all of the big things start to come together. It's the way that you move in tune with your own human body that changes. Like, when people start working with me, their skin starts to look brighter. Their houses start to be literally lighter. Like, I know one of my clients lives in a big old New England house, and I did some energy work on her house after working with her a couple of weeks ago, and her house is literally brighter than it used to be. And I'm just able to do these, like, seemingly small things that end up essentially creating a gentler landscape, is like the sort of the words that are coming to me, like a gentler landscape for everyone who works with me, to be able to just, like, really deeply drink in that level of trust. Like, you have to already have a very high level of trust, which is why I always say, I really am a healer for the healers. Like, I think, like, the average person who just came off the street would be profoundly confused potentially by what I'm up to. And you really do need to have reached a certain level of personal mastery, even through just like basic meditation or what have you, to be able to really say, like, yeah, I want to get on this crazy wild quantum train. Because that's the other thing, is once you get on it, I mean, there's really no getting back. And there's no like, you can't return to the station. Like, it's just like, once you're on that peace train, as it were, it's like whoosh.
But it's such, like, it's way more fun.
It is. It's way more fun, and it adds a kind of lightness. Like, that's one thing that I do really appreciate and value, and I can see in every one of my clients. Like, sure, people have these, clear 3D things that happen. Their businesses get easier. They are able to call in, like, a better caliber of person who they're dating. They are able to, like, see what business ventures, personal things that they should get involved in. But there is a way. I did a session with Beth Porter, who I met through the cohort, at the beginning of this week. And we did a deep dive on my brand, which was remarkable and amazing, of course. And she said something so interesting. She was like, when people sign up to work with a lot of healers, there's like a clear thing. They're like, okay, you join my container, you are in my circle for 9 weeks. Like, these are the things that you get X, Y, and Z. And with me, it's not that clear cut, because what you get basically is like a team of Care Bears who come in and help to start to guide you and make your life gentler and easier in ways that you couldn't even imagine until like people actually take the leap and then start working with me. And then people are like, my God, I can like you have experienced new things. Like you can hear choruses of you have posted about being able to like hear choruses of angelic music. I mean, I know for you, I can look at your marketing, which is so surreal. You are a woman of the floral realm and like a masterful channeler of that kind of fairy magic, of that like sensuality and beauty and love. And I have looked at your marketing, which I know you know, but I have looked at Jocelyn's marketing, you guys, and literally smelled a rose garden. Like the
Oh, yeah.
thing is, like when I start to work with you, I also get to experience what I always call the platonic ideal of whatever my clients healing gifts are too, which is also how I'm able to help people so much. Because like when I start working with someone, then my team shows me what like their number one thing is too, so it makes it so that the communication is just happening in this really remarkable, very like behind the scenes kind of like energetic way, which is again how I'm able to be like, okay, you know, it's 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, but they're telling me somebody needs to know about this, that, or the other thing. And I'm able to experience that stuff in real time because I'm so tapped into the quantum field and the field of energy around us. So it is. I mean, it's really fun. And there are some really cool, exciting new ways that people are going to be able to work with me. I will get into those in a minute, but Jocelyn, I know it's like 4:07. I want to be respectful of your time. Um, is there is there anything else that you could think of that you want to add about what it's like to work with me? Um,
I mean, it's just so I don't even think it's like a leap of faith and all this stuff. Like,
Thank you.
you know what I mean? I think for all of us,
No.
we just need to adopt this mindset of, like I said, with money, easy, obvious, no big deal. People, you know what I mean? It's like, of course people want to work with me. Of course they want to work with you. Like, what are you smoking to not want to?
Right,
Because
right, right, right.
it's, do you want life to be hard or do you want it to be easy?
Yeah,
Like to
yeah,
me, decisions are that. It's like women put so much drama around investing. I'm like, is your current reality working? Why don't you start checking in with your dreams and where you want to be and stop holding so tight to your bank account, which is not changing until you take a leap to make a change.
yeah.
Go first, the universe follows.
You really helped me with that too, because I think that that is a really clear, um, what is it? You say it all the time. You know, people who've been in business for a long time always say it. When somebody comes to you and says, oh, I don't have the money right now to do X, Y, and Z, but I'm going to follow back up with you in 6 months, blah, blah, blah. That person is always in the same place that they were in 6 months
Oh
ago.
my gosh. I can't tell you how many times nothing changes. No miracles are coming. Nothing is falling out of the sky. Nothing changes until you make a change.
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy to see people hold on so tight, because I'm like, what you're holding on so tight to isn't even working for you. So why are you holding on so tight?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And like we've all had to take risks to do anything, to like in terms of like building business or having personal changes or whatever. Like it's just people who get big rewards out of life take big risks. I mean, if you were able to like take the snail's pace to the other side of the rainbow, like everyone would be there.
Yeah. Yeah. But and that's exactly right. Like, and I think that you just touched on something so beautiful. Like, if the system that was set up to like supposedly facilitate our personal growth on this planet worked, like for real, then all of us would have already been at that point, and
We'd all be there.
we would already be there. But
We
there's
still-
like
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Um, but
I
there,
and people don't realize it's so we're so bought in that we don't realize we're bought in. So
yeah,
when we run around in scarcity, I can't spend money, I can't do this, I can't resource myself, I can't, oh, maybe later, maybe later. Oh, it's just not the right time, it's just not the right time. How convenient for the system that you're so mind effed by it, that you're still playing out the story to yourself that the system wants you to play out so that you don't change.
yeah,
Literally, that is what you're doing to yourself when we do play that story. And I'm not talking about like if you don't feel the call and you don't go towards something, but like your intuition always speaks first. All you have to do is follow. We just don't listen. And it frustrates me so much because I watch people and they think they're like protecting themselves and they're just like they're literally just on a merry-go-round with the matrix
yeah,
that literally just wants you to be like, oh, it's perfect if she says she can't afford anything. It's perfect if she can't like get creative and figure out how to resource it anyway. It's perfect if she's too scared to heal herself. It's perfect, you know what I mean? If like she goes this safe route, because then what are you doing? The way that you end up participating in the economy and in the world is in the way that the system designed, which was always to keep you small.
yeah.
So be careful of where you're into buying into that very energy that you say that you want to have change in the world, because you are saying yes to the patriarchy when you do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That is such a profoundly important point, especially right now, because I feel like we're witnessing a lot of, how many people felt like they were literally spinning in circles in January and February. And we have an opportunity now from an energetic perspective to like start to move out of that attachment to these systems of,
And not even just January and February. People have been doing this their whole life.
right. They have been doing it their whole life. And now we have these new tools available to us. And so there's truly there's no reason for that anymore. Like
None.
we don't need to essentially like keep ourselves on that hamster wheel. And if people choose to like continue to stay on that hamster wheel, certainly I'm assuming there are reasons for their own soul's growth that they need to, but we don't need to do that anymore. Like we have these really beautiful futuristic ways of engaging with the world that will help us get from point A to point B and literally enable us to compress time and space and say, wow, like I would have this thing that I would have been trying to do would have in another lifetime taken me 10 years. I feel like the transformation that I made personally over the course of 2020 literally would have taken 10 years in another like timeline. But because of what we have available to us at this point, we get to say, if we step into this newness, into this like new way of engaging with the world, I don't want that to take 10 years. I want that to take 6 months, or I want that to take 1 year. Like I want to be able to not live like trapped on that hamster wheel anymore. And the minute that we say yes to our own growth in that way, everything changes. And I saw it happen when I enrolled in the cohort, right? Like within a week of signing up for the cohort, I don't think I had even like I'd literally done nothing, like none of the stuff yet. But within a day of signing up for the cohort, all of this stuff started happening to me in a really hyper dramatic way, right? And those are the kinds of shifts that we are able to move into when we say, you know what? I don't want to be tied down by all of that like 3D weight anymore. I don't want that. I don't have to like live through that. The kind of suffering that my great grandfather lived through, the kinds of sacrifices that he needed to make. You've heard me tell this story. He left Ireland when he was 14 years old, I think, by himself. He walked across the country of Ireland. He had a fisherman bring him from the island that our family had lived on up to that point, which is called Erin, took a boat here, I mean, it was just a whole horrific, like nightmarish journey to come to the United States because there was nothing for him there. He was not allowed to learn how to read and write. He was not, I mean, you know, the history of this country is so painful and hard and dramatic. And our ancestors needed to do those things for us. But like, we don't have to live that
Keep
anymore.
living
And
out over and over. Like, it's over. Let's like actually allow it to be over by receiving the support to have it be over, because we all carry it in all these different ways. And it's like the journey is releasing all of that. Your soul is not here, doesn't want your life to be hard
no,
and difficult, but it's like most people just never make the changes. But that doesn't make it just like, you know, I always remind the women that I'm coaching, I'm like, you saying yes to being an entrepreneur is exceptional. It's abnormal. So yes, it is normal. This is why we need help. We need to be invested in ourselves all the time. We do not try to do it ourselves. Like, because you are saying no to what most people accept as reality. And there is no like book for that. You're not trained for that. So it's totally normal that we need to like go towards people who done it longer, did it faster, do it better, whatever it is, have more expertise. And it's the same thing to me, like with your soul's growth is like, well, why wouldn't I want to work with someone who is such a clear channel into the divine to collapse my, like, I've got slavery. I mean, girl, there's all sorts of stuff going on in my lineage, you know? And like so much pain and poverty and all this stuff. I mean, my dad did a lot of it. Like he has the rags to riches story in our family, but it's still like I can still feel it's less now, I think, because he's older, but there's still like I can still feel the sort of he had a lot of trauma growing up, like a lot.
yeah,
And that is something that like I could always feel, right? Even though the financial success was there, he created, which is like exceptional considering.
yeah,
Seriously. I could still feel the emotional and spiritual trauma, you know, and like, but that's the part that affected me, you know, and it's like, even though it never happened to me. So this is why this quantum healing is so important, because it's not just you. People get so stuck in like, well, this happened with my mother and I'm like, okay, girl, like I feel you. Like our immediate family is part of the equation and highly relevant. People have been through some really traumatic things, but you've got like a long lineage that came before you. So people, this is my issue with like these slow roads to healing is like when you go sit there and all you're doing is talking about something with someone who cannot see outside. I don't mean like can't see what's really happening with you and you don't understand. I mean literally seeing like having that access into your lineage. You are addressing this much of the equation when there's this many things going on. And it's not this many things going on to be scary. It's like we need to elevate the what help looks like to us now.
yeah,
Like seriously.
yeah.
You talking like it's really time. Because so much of moving faster, having a clearer channel, being able to receive more, knowing what details you don't need to deal with and where we actually need to move forward, and just like being like this in your life comes through having all of this ancestral spiritual garbage that we picked up along the way, or you know, just passed down to us because we're human, and by nature of being on the human plane, we are here to move through things. You know, we need to also just accept that that's part of being human. Nothing's wrong with you. It's just like to get to the best version of being human, right? Where like you get to like have all the money, have all the love, and enjoy the things that are fun about being on the earth plane instead of being stressed out, which is like, yeah, travel, play, see your friends, listen to music, like all the superhuman stuff that's so fun. To have all of that, we've got to do the spiritual work, but also the spiritual work doesn't have to take a long time. So it's like I'm totally unclear on why anyone does not want to receive celestial mentorship, quantum level support. Like, what are you doing with your life?
Thank you. I know, right? I mean, I feel the same way, to be perfectly honest with you, because I can see how fast this changes people. And the genetic part of it is so interesting too, because I mean, I talk about epigenetics all the time, and in mice, it goes back 13 generations in terms of what mice inherit from their ancestors, and then what we're literally carrying around with us. And the thing is that, to your point, like, our ancestors don't want that for us anymore. The things that they had to do to stay alive on this planet,
Oh,
to make it so that we could be here today, were horrifying, but they do not want that for us. And so that is the other reason why, like, these modalities are just going to continue to become more and more and more present on this planet. Is like, the planet herself does not have time for us to nut around and wait anymore. I mean, we are I'm not saying that to scare people, but there really is, like, we were given ample opportunities to wake up. That's what the entirety of 2020 was that it was about a journey, essentially, for every person on this planet to say, what are the things that do not work for me anymore? I am going to have to apparently spend a year inside of my house getting real with me. And then what do I look like? What am I actually about? Like, the Matrix told me, I was a who's he, what's it, somebody who did like X, Y, and Z. But is that really what you're about? Is that really why you came here? Is that really what is, like, going to light the fire of joy and success? And the thing about joy, and this is really, for me, I mean, I talk about this a lot. The connections between joy and resiliency are not something that a lot of people talk about. And it is truly that I feel like that, in a lot of ways, for me, is the most remarkable impact of my work for people. It's not like once you start doing quantum healing, your life is going to become perfect. It's more like you're going to be able to handle the imperfections and the moments where, like, there's a dip in the energy and where things aren't going so well, and you're going to be able to just trust that, like, those times are going to clear themselves up and that everything is still okay. And
when
I
it
just
starts happening faster. And
yeah.
for me too, just being such a tuned in person anyway, like, and trusting my team and obviously trusting you, like, when the messages come in, it's like, it's so incredible to know what they are and just know how well supported you are, so that, like, this random 3D earth plane shit, you're like, don't even care. You're like, you might get like a little, we all have moments, but sometimes it's like, oh, but your team's saying this about it. Like, if it's something I haven't tuned into yet for myself, just because lots of times, like, we'll know, like, you've had other heal, right? Like, we know we receive enough ourselves, but then people are like filling in the gaps.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, like, once I hear the not even like the spiritual lesson, but just like what they have to say or why, that's like all I need.
Yeah.
And then you get whatever you need to redirect or accept or whatever. It's literally just living a totally different way. It's like giving yourself the ability to live without, like, when people live based in reactivity, reacting to life, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
But but it happens because we don't have that, like, sovereignty. This is what we've all experienced in codependency, et cetera, right? We don't have, like, that's been my deep, like, before where I am now, where I came from, like, however many years ago when it was real active, is like, you don't have the spiritual strength, you don't have the sovereignty to, like, clearly see things. So you're just always reacting. And most people are living in this like highly emotionally charged reactive state that is again a byproduct of all this unhealed stuff in the system, et cetera. And it's like I always like to think about it like, imagine like you're floating above the earth, right? And like you're in a different dimension, you're looking down at the earth plane. When I do that, it's like I can distinctly see people who are still trapped in, and I've been there. Like, and when you look now, me looking back, I'm like, girl, whew, we really had to wake up, who are still trapped in that. And there's so little trust. There's a lot of unprocessed trauma, and there's just no greater vision, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But I think one thing that's really cool about having this access to quantum healing and just the quantum fields and the fairies, all the places, right? Like the special way that it comes through you. It's not like going to work with someone else who sees the fairy. It's not the same. It's like your energy that makes it unique. But what's so cool about that is all of a sudden you get like I'm such a big picture person, right? And I think like you get this like way bigger picture on things and not in that way. Cause I think we've all had these experiences that are annoying where people are like, well, this happened to you, so you could learn this lesson. And like, I don't mean that kind of big picture. Like, all that's true, but that's kind of like level one, you know, in terms of growth.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's hard to put into words. You have to experience it. But when you get taken up into like a higher plane and you can see from there, your experience that you're having down here is very different. And you start navigating in a very different way. And we need to realize that like people who create these exceptional results in their life, they have figured out how to do this.
Yeah.
Because it's rare for people to do that. So when people do, there's something going on and we want to pay attention. You know? And so especially for us like spiritual women, but you know, if you go really talk to most like highly successful people, celebrities, business owners, etc., 99% of them will also start eventually talking about their spirituality.
Yeah. Yeah, it's real. It's real because
So real.
success is very linked to that, and because of the way that the world has existed, it was too scary for people to admit that for a long time, right? Like
Yeah.
there wasn't room for people to be able to like talk about that without being deemed a weirdo or a freak or a woo woo woo
But
woo.
we had the witch hunts, like all the things. Yeah.
Oh my God. And it's scary. Like, I know for myself, part of my own journey about like essentially coming out of the spiritual closet, it's not that my friends for my entire life didn't know that I had these connections. It's not that my family didn't know it. It's just that, how did I identify? Like, what were all of those residual fears that I had because of all that historical trauma you're talking about, right? Like, to admit that I am a quantum healer is it tapped into all of those past lives, all of those moments where it was not safe for us as very powerful healers and witches and people who were like deeply in tune with the earth herself, which is where all of this like really vibrant power comes from. uh like, I think of it as my job on this planet is to essentially marry the heaven and earth. And
Mm.
for a long time I was not able, I've gone through some huge shifts myself even in the past couple of weeks. I'm fully grounded into my human body now for the first time in my life, so my own work is also about to change a lot very quickly, so we shall see like where it goes. But for me, for my own self to like really move through all of that trauma, I incarnated in a very literal, like real way to not just help transmute my like, genetic family's karmic history and baggage, but to do it for this entire planet. I mean, I had a session the other day with someone, and she confirmed for me something I've always really felt very strongly, which is that this is the last time that I'm going to be in a human body. And I I literally came here to share a type of celestial and divine wisdom with the planet that we had forgotten. And it is time to call it home in a really deep and profound way. And I just couldn't be more honored to be able to share this with people at this point. Like I came here on an actual mission from God, which is so dramatic. I mean, to say it out loud, it sounds so dramatic, but it is very real. And once people start working with me, like people can very quickly see that I am not just talking some talk, that I am really walking the walk of helping to draw down all of this light that we have access to, which is going to make everything else around us change very quickly and very remarkably, and in ways that that our intuition has always known was possible, but was not possible because the energetics of this planet were not in support of it. But everything is different now. I mean, I have been told over and over again, I know your team also, like, everyone who's working in these really high spiritual realms, we have been told over and over again that this is the time that it is safe for us. This is the first time, the way that the planet is functioning right now is not like anything that has ever happened on this earth before. What we have access to at this point is like, like so wild and beautiful and cool. And so, yeah, I just really encourage anybody who, I'd encourage everybody to book a session with me. If you have not, if you've never worked with me, I have a new kind of session, which is a celestial soul exploration session. I do all kinds of things. I'll put the link in to book with me, and certainly, I feel like this is I've enjoyed this format so much, Jocelyn. I appreciate that you volunteered to do this. What you guys don't know is that I had actually talked to Jocelyn about doing a testimonial for me. And you are so enthusiastic, and just like your own experience with my work has been so powerful. You were like, let's just do, let's just do a live, basically. Let's do a live and an infomercial, like a long version, a long form version of what it's like to work with me. And I could not be more grateful for you for doing that, because you help me be able, I mean, I know I've said it a million times over the course of this, but you help me be able to put the like human words into the experience of what it's like to work with me. So I could not be, I could not be more grateful. And I can't wait to see who amongst us in the audience here is ready to take the deep dive, because it's gonna just be nothing except spectacularly fun. And I just can't wait. I'm ready.
Yay!
Uh, I love you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I will also make sure that for those of you who don't know how, or are not connected to Jocelyn, I'll make sure that you guys know how to join her group. She has an incredible group called Born to Be a Boss, which is just like really fun, truly high vibes. And you guys, I had the distinct honor of being part of Jocelyn's new podcast, which launched officially on the 10th. I think 11th, 10th or 11th. But check it out. It's available on iTunes now. Queen Flow. It is so much fun. Are you still doing, are you still doing the I can't remember dates wise.
Oh, for writing review the show? Yeah, fun. So yes, the podcast is out. Go listen to it. Angie actually interviewed me for the first About Me episode, which was really fun. And I'm so excited about that show. But yes, for all who rate and review, and just DM me a screenshot of your written review, and then you are able to receive $200 off a new purchase of any of my programs. So Money Queen could be great for that, because that's like a digital self-led abundance course. I have the cohort, which is for my women building and scaling businesses to sustainable 5-figure months and feminine flow. And then, of course, I have Feminine Magic and Money, the mastermind. Andrea's in it. You can come play with us. Which, like I was saying, is about deep, like, wealth, pleasure, magic, magnetism, embodiment. It's my witch school.
Oh,
So yeah, come join my group. But yes, if you rate and review the show, I'm happy to give you $200 off of any of my offers. And I'd appreciate it so much. I'm so excited about that show. It's really fun. And I really feel like it was a long time coming. So thank you also, Andrea, for interviewing me. Because if anybody has a show, like doing it about me by yourself, I'm like, well, where am I supposed to start? Like, talkative, but it's like there's so many different angles you could take, phases of life, what aspect of your life, this, that, and the other. And I'm very much into the easiest road to Rome. I was like, why don't we do like more of an interview style? That's probably going to be more fun for you.
Oh, it was so much fun also, you guys. Jocelyn's story is really, I mean, oh, I love it. All right. Jocelyn, thank you so much. I love you. You guys listen to Queen Flow, book with me, do all of it. It is time for every single one of us to embrace all of our resources and just like embrace the heckin' heck out of life. So I love you so much. I hope you guys all have a really good weekend. And Jocelyn, I will talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, lady.
Oh, thank you. Bye.